What's up, everybody? Phil Bleckman with BarBend.com, and today we are going to talk about Hafthor the Mountain Bjornsson's track to getting lean and cardiovascularly fit for his bout against Eddie Hall in September of 2021 in Las Vegas. Both former strongmen have changed up their routines, are getting lean, are building their cardio to buck the assumptions that they won't be able to go more than one round in their bout. If you want to learn anything more about Eddie Hall or Hafthor Bjornsson or their progress as we get closer to their bout in September, just head over to Google, type in BarBend Hafthor or BarBend Eddie Hall. All of that information is going to come up. You're not going to want to miss out. There's a lot to keep up on the heaviest boxing match in history. Okay. Don't judge a strongman by their 10,000 calorie diets. The 2017 World's Strongest Man champion Eddie Hall and the 2018 World's Strongest Man champion Hafthor the Mountain Bjornsson are going to face off in the squared circle in Las Vegas in September 2021 in what's being touted as the heaviest boxing match in history. When that match was first announced, the idea of these two real-life Goliaths clashing in a sport that tests endurance, conditioning, and agility was slung with preconceived notions that both super heavyweights would be gasping for air after round one. But both Hall and Bjornsson are bucking that notion through massive changes to their diets, physiques, and training routines. Bjornsson particularly is overhauling his conditioning training with the help of some of the fittest people on earth. Thor Thorisdottir is the 2012 Fittest Woman on Earth and most recently ranked 11th at the 2019 CrossFit Games. Now, this is not the first time that Bjornsson has connected with Thorisdottir for a training session. Their last workout together was actually in June 2020 and involved sprints on the assault bike as well. Bjornsson called it the, quote, hardest session of his life, and it looks like he is asking for more of those hardest sessions of his life. This time around, it was slightly different though, as Bjornsson and the CrossFitters have been training consistently together for about 5 weeks. Additionally, Bjornsson has been training as a boxer, or in other words, more conditioning-based training, for the bulk of the last year. The results thus far have been a foundation of proper boxing technique and a significant amount of weight loss that will help him move more efficiently around the ring. Since retiring from strongman, he has dropped 50 kilos or 110 pounds, going from 205 kilos to 155 kilos. That's 452 pounds down to 342 pounds. Now, this doesn't mean his training session with elite CrossFit athletes is by any means easy, but it was clear that Bjornsson's training has paid significant dividends for his cardio. So for this particular workout, after a 10-minute warm-up, here was what Thorisdottir put the mountain through based on his breathing capacity and VO2 max, which is the maximum rate of oxygen consumption measured during incremental exercise. In a 5-minute window on the assault bike, he did a 75-second sprint, a 60-second sprint, a 45-second sprint, and a 30-second sprint. This cumulated to 3.5 minutes of work at approximately 95% max effort and 1.5 minutes of rest within that 5-minute window. Although it wasn't mentioned specifically in their training, intense bursts of work followed by sudden short bouts of rest mimic the cadence of a boxing match. Rounds are 3 minutes of intense action, followed by a brief rest period. The sprints were difficult for Bjornsson, but they seem to be a valuable learning experience for how his body responds during the rest periods. He said, quote, "The longer I sit, the more pump I get. It's ridiculous," unquote. Although it's imperative to have the proper cardiovascular technique to go the distance in a boxing match against a rival aiming to knock him out in the first round, Bjornsson has not slacked on the requisite effort to gain a foundation of proper boxing technique. Oddly enough, podcast host and UFC commentator Joe Rogan pointed out in his interview with 5-time Fittest Man on Earth Matt Frazier that Bjornsson is picking up the fundamentals of boxing well. Rogan praised Bjornsson's coaches for teaching him proper technique and frowns upon Hall's training, which was filled with, quote, arm punches. Hall did then respond, saying that the videos that they covered weren't the whole story, and Hall has no qualms with how his boxing technique has developed over the last year. Bjornsson is gaining some in-ring experience by competing in exhibition matches against actual professional fighters. In January 2021, he stepped into the ring for the first time against Stephen Ward. Although the exhibition was designed not to have a winner or a loser and not be tabulated on either man's professional boxing record, Bjornsson came away with areas he needed to improve upon. Safe to say his conditioning was one of those areas, hence his training program with the CrossFitters. His next exhibition is already scheduled against heavyweight Simon Vallily in Dubai on May 28th, 2021 and will be live streamed on coresports.world. Vallily holds a record of 17 wins, 3 losses and 1 draw, with 7 wins coming by way of knockout. We are unlikely to see Hall step into the ring, however, before the main event in September, because he said he doesn't intend to give Bjornsson's training camp a tape to study. So he is getting all of his practice against in-ring professionals in training. Once the fall rolls around and the two former strongmen step into the ring, don't be surprised if their conditioning shirks all the initial takes, that they will both be out of gas in the first round. Both men have dedicated their lives to preparing for the fight, and although it may not go the distance, it seems both men will be prepared to do so. Although Hall is not going to be stepping into any exhibition fights against professional fighters the way Bjornsson has to get that experience in the ring, he is still leaning out, changing his diet, and getting his cardio prepared for the fight. If you want to see what his physique actually looks like now, he's taking posing lessons with bodybuilder Ryan Terry. Both former strongmen competing in the ring is something that we are definitely going to cover. We are super hyped about it. We know that everybody watching probably is too. I'm Phil Bleckman for BarBend.com. Thank you for watching.